The bright studio lights illuminated the stage as the audience settled in for what was expected to be a tense and controversial interview. The show, America Speaks, was known for its heated debates, and tonight's guest was none other than former President Donald Trump. The host, Jonathan Reed, a well-known liberal commentator, had promised a no-holds-barred conversation. Trump sat comfortably in his chair, his signature confidence on full display. The crowd was a mix of supporters and skeptics, their anticipation palpable. Jonathan adjusted his tie and leaned forward. "Mr. Trump, thank you for joining us tonight." Trump nodded, flashing a charismatic smile. "Great to be here, Jonathan. Beautiful studio, great crowd." Jonathan smirked slightly. "Let's get straight to it. Your time in office was filled with controversy, and even now, you remain one of the most talked-about figures in America. But I want to start with something more personal, your wife, Melania." Trump's eyes narrowed slightly, but he remained composed. "Melania is an incredible woman. Smart, strong, and beautiful inside and out." Jonathan clasped his hands together. "Many people have questioned her role in your life and even speculated about your relationship. Some say she is distant, and others suggest she wasn't happy as First Lady. How do you respond to these claims?" Trump's expression remained unreadable for a moment, then he chuckled. "Well, Jonathan, I have to say, the media has been obsessed with Melania. And let me tell you, she's one of the strongest people I know. She handled the pressure of being First Lady with grace and intelligence. Frankly, she did a better job than anyone gives her credit for." Jonathan pressed on. "But there were reports, unverified, of course, that she wasn't always pleased with your decisions, that she didn't enjoy the spotlight. Would you say she was truly happy?" Trump leaned forward, his voice calm yet firm. "Jonathan, let me ask you something. Have you ever seen a woman stand beside a man through thick and thin the way Melania has stood by me? She's not just my wife, she's my partner. We've built a life together based on respect and love. The media likes to spin their stories, but Melania is independent, intelligent, and has always made her own choices." Jonathan wasn't ready to back down. "Then why do we rarely hear from her? Why does she keep such a low profile?" Trump chuckled again. "Because she doesn't need to be in the limelight 24/7 like some people. She's not about self-promotion. She focuses on what matters, our family, her work with children's charities, and making a real difference. Unlike some politicians' spouses, she doesn't do things just for show. She does things because she cares." The audience murmured in agreement, some clapping. Jonathan's expression shifted slightly, realizing that Trump was handling the questions with ease. "Okay, but let's talk about a specific moment, then," Jonathan said, changing tactics. "There was an instance where she seemed to refuse to hold your hand in public. Many took that as a sign of discord." Trump laughed. "Oh, the hand-holding moment. You see, Jonathan, that's what I mean about the media twisting things. Melania is an elegant, strong woman. Sometimes she doesn't want to hold hands because maybe she's focused, maybe she's thinking about something, or maybe, just maybe, she's human. It's ridiculous how people read into every single gesture." Jonathan hesitated, sensing that Trump was turning the conversation in his favor. "So you're saying there's no trouble at all in your marriage?" Trump sighed, this time serious. "Jonathan, we've been married for a long time. Like any couple, we have our moments. But you know what matters? Loyalty, respect, and love. And Melania has all three. I think it's sad that people spend so much time analyzing every little thing about our relationship instead of looking at the bigger picture, how much she has contributed, how she's been a fantastic mother and First Lady." A soft applause rose from the audience, and Jonathan leaned back slightly. "Fair enough, Mr. Trump. But let's pivot to another topic, your policies and how they impacted the country." Trump grinned. Now we're talking. Jonathan adjusted his microphone. Many critics argue that your policies were divisive and benefited the wealthy more than the working class. How do you respond to those claims? Trump waved a hand dismissively. Look, Jonathan, I built one of the strongest economies America has ever seen. Jobs were booming, unemployment hit record lows, and the stock market was through the roof. If that's divisive, then I'd say let's have more of that kind of division. The reality is, working-class Americans saw higher wages, lower taxes, and more opportunities than they had in decades. Jonathan raised an eyebrow. But your tax cuts overwhelmingly favored corporations and the rich. Doesn't that contradict your message of helping the working class? Trump leaned in. Jonathan, do you know what happens when businesses thrive? They hire more people, they expand, and they invest in America. That's exactly what happened under my administration. Millions of jobs created, people off food stamps, record-high household incomes. I don't just talk about making America great, I did it. The audience clapped again, some louder than before. Jonathan seemed slightly taken aback by the crowd's reaction. All right, Jonathan said, shifting in his seat. Let's talk about healthcare. Many Americans felt that your administration's attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act would have left millions without coverage. Trump shook his head. No one was left behind. What we wanted was a system that actually worked. The ACA was collapsing under its own weight, premiums were skyrocketing, and people couldn't afford the care they needed. We were working towards something better, real reform that put patients first. Jonathan sighed. But many people feared losing their coverage. Isn't that a valid concern? Trump nodded. Look, I get it. People want security. That's why I always said, we will have something better, something fair, and something that works for every American. The media loves to focus on fear-mongering instead of the facts. We were making progress, and if I were still in office, we'd have a healthcare system that actually serves the people, not the bureaucrats. Jonathan hesitated, then smiled slightly. You certainly have a way of defending yourself, Mr. Trump. Trump grinned. That's because I deal in facts, Jonathan. And the facts speak for themselves.